Hello, champions, and welcome to our Season 4 Calamity Update Show. I am Romanova, and I am pleased to be here along with our designers to give you all the details on what is coming in this next update. So let's get to it. All right, welcome, guys. Everyone,
hello.
Nico.
Calamitous occasion. How are you guys doing?
And you know Adonis, bearded Adonis,
Hello, I'm doing great.
DLC.
Bearded. This is the quarantine beard and hair. My hair is also super long. It's kind of hard to tell because it's hidden behind me right now, but it's been a year. It's been a 2020 for sure.
Still going
Yeah,
strong.
it took all of 2020 to get the beard that long, I assume, right?
Actually, yeah, it took
a
about
while.
half. It grows very slowly, but we've made it. We've made it.
Absolutely. And I'm excited for today's update show. We have a very short segment for the hunt this time because, as many of you know at home, we have been telling you that 2021 is going to be more patches throughout the year where it'll be, our, passes and champion and another release. Like you'll be getting more updates consistently. So there will be some that will have way more bug fixes, some that'll have less. This is one of those ones that have less, but boy, we got a new champion, and I'm not ready to let the worm out of the bag yet. So let's go right into the hunt then, folks. So we're gonna go into it. It looks like our first fix here is a bug with Amani. So many of you Amani players out there will probably be relieved to know that we fixed an issue where Amani's dragon could hit enemies with frost fire breath. Whew, take a breath there. Through thin walls. So that's always good. I always like when our team fixes collision issues. I'm sure you as designers never intend for that. So those are always nice when you have
Except
those.
that one. Just the one bug, just to frustrate people. Yeah. No, of course not.
Just the one bug.
Just the one. Yeah.
And Maldamba, we have some fixes for as well. And just so you know, folks, we are going to kind of fly through this because we got a lot jam-packed in here for you. So Maldamba, we fixed 2 issues with him. We fixed an issue where the otherworldly card did not function properly. And we fixed an issue where the venomous gourd card did not provide lifesteal allies who are standing in the gourd's volume. Also good. I play Maldamba, and I know that would frustrate me as a player, so shout out to all the Damba players out there. You got some fixes. The last one that we're going to go over, and again, quick fly through, is we fixed an issue. This is just a general fix, where VFX and items that appeared during emotes could stick on champion models if the emote was canceled early. Also good. Don't want any of that kind of stuff. That to me is like in line with T-posing. We don't want none of that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Quick shout out to player reports, especially for the Maldamba thing. Those were super easy to hear about, rather, that I was able to go in and double check, see what the problem was, and get it easily fixed because people were able to report it to me. So please keep reporting bugs because it's really helpful for us. Yeah.
And like he said, keep reporting bugs. There's Discord, Paladins Discord, discord.gg/Paladins game. There's a report a bug section there. There's also a bug report form. And then, it's not the best place because sometimes it can get missed, but also we do look on Twitter as well. So, wherever you tend to post these, we do look, even if we don't always reply, and that's how these things get fixed, and it's glorious. Who doesn't love fixes? But
glorious.
Fixes, glorious. Speaking of glorious, we have a glorious update coming. I know a lot of you at home were hoping for more map updates after seeing some of the ones we've done with Frozen Guard and Frog Isle. So our next one is Timbermill, and we have a very special video to show you. Awesome. Now, like, I've seen this in progress for a while. I remember back in the early phases, it was just the level designers kind of working on, reworking just the routes and everything for where you're going, how you're getting to the point and whatnot. And I haven't gotten to play it since the final bit there. Just visually, it looks great. Do you two have anything to say about this?
Well, I kind of wanted to say shiver me timbers.
No, you first.
Oh, please, Kevin.
Never mind.
I'll go
Never
first.
mind. I'm taking over. No puns.
Shiver me
No
timber
puns
mill.
allowed.
Oh,
I'm
no.
really
Okay.
excited for Timbermill, and we also, a big focus, I think, at more recently and heading into 2021 is you're going to be seeing multiple map adjustments. So we have a combination of lighting updates, texture updates, some level design changes if we feel that we can improve how the map plays. Some of the more sacred maps that players really love, we probably won't be touching the level design and more focused on visual and lighting updates. But for Timbermill, we know that this is a map that's been very frustrating for a lot of players, very dominated by snipers and long range characters, making it really tough for some of our other roles to really shine. So we've made a couple adjustments to this map that maybe we'll show off later. I think we'll be rolling around when we show off some of the skins and the worm. But I am very excited for players to get their hands on this map, and I would love to, see what the feedback is and see if it's a map that players can really start to, love compared to how they experience it currently, unless they're a sniper, in which case it's probably their favorite map.
All puns aside, I do really enjoy this version of Timbermill more than I did the previous one. So excited to see that come to the realm.
Yeah, shout outs to, I guess, we have the environment art team as well, Alex M. And wouldn't it also be Alex D that was involved in this too on design?
Yeah, Alex D from level design worked on this map, really happy with the changes that he worked through. And then also Rick was another part of the environment art team alongside Alex Martin. And he's been working on not only Timbermill, but some of the previous map updates we've done and some of the future ones that you will learn more about later this year.
Yeah, so champions, be excited. That is something to look forward to, and you saw it coming in February, so just around the corner. Wow. So the next thing we're getting into is many of you have probably purchased at some point the Season Pass 2019, which extended to 2020. That is coming to a close. It is kaput, done, into the vault. We have the new Season Pass coming. For those who are excited, Season Pass 2021, all new, all fresh, all new year. All new year.
The new hotness.
All new champions. It's so hot this year. So we'll go over a bit of the generals here with it. So with this pass, it looks like you'll also still be getting every new champion that releases this year. No specific number mentioned, but you will be in for a store. We do have a lot of really great things planned for 2020. Devious here, menacing. But it will include a season pass, exclusive rare skin, all talents instantly unlocked, additional uncommon skin, emote, and MVP pose, and then obviously anytime there's a new champion, there's also usually an exclusive season pass skin. So I'll let you two talk about this, and then we'll go into the exclusive skin for this year, which I think just tops last year's.
Yeah, I can go over this. So I think the big part that we haven't mentioned about this year's season pass compared to the previous year's season's pass is you're going to get the same stuff like Rose just mentioned, all of the content for all the new champions coming out, 1,500 crystals. But the big thing for me, and I think for a lot of players, will be you'll get a bonus 10% extra crystals whenever you purchase crystals. So if you're someone who purchases cosmetics or battle passes or champions or chest all throughout the year, you're going to get more value for any dollar you spend when purchasing crystals. So if you're already someone who plays the game a lot, who is really passionate about the game and trying to get a lot of the content, the extra 10% crystals I think will go a long way. And then of course we have the really shiny stuff that you're going to get when you first buy it here in a second. Something that I think players have been wanting for quite some time actually.
Yeah, they've been kind of wanting to know when she's making her debut for a while. They thought it was going to be with I think when we did Prime Gaming. I think they thought it was going to be last year for like Halloween, but it's here now. We have Soul Stealer Furia. So many of you call her Abyssal Furia, but she's here in the flesh, looking a little purple.
Ready to take your soul.
Absolutely.
Shaking on my soul.
So we kind of hinted at her too with the why not have both emote that was is in the Angels Battle Pass. So if you just got that, you'll notice that you have that as well.
My fire is eternal. I'm the one giving orders around here.
There it is.
Why not
Beautiful.
both?
So I really like the design on the weapon. I believe we have our traditional shout out to Roland for the effects on such a beautiful sword gun, however you want to call it.
Furious weapon's always interesting to me, but it's also one of the most visually pleasing weapons in our game for me personally. So I'm hyped about this one. I also wrote the voice back for this one, so that's even more reason that I'm excited that she's finally able to come to the realm as well.
You wouldn't be biased, would you, Kevin?
Oh, of course not. Certainly not. Me liking things that I make. No, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of any abyssal energy VFX that we do. And I think when it comes to the Pyre Strike on this skin, it's probably one of my favorite visually. I'm also very biased towards purple colors and effects. Abyss is one of my favorite factions in our game. So I really think this skin. Yeah, see, cameraman also agrees. Thank you, Tambo.
Can we still call it the Pyre Strike, or does it have to be the Abyss Strike now?
It should be the Abyss Strike.
The Abyss Strike, absolutely. Can we see her her ultimate here? Let's get it going. Oh,
Show them
the
no
wings.
mercy. Ooh.
I love the wings. We finally get to. They look evil, menacing. We can get a couple lines of her voice, and then we can show off another thing coming as well.
I was made from the abyss. Stare at me, though, and I'll do more than stare back at you.
Oh.
Have you heard have you heard this voice back, Kevin?
No, I have not.
Them down. Enemies behind us. What a thrill. What a thrill.
I like the enhancement effects too on the voice. They do a lot. Yeah, let's go into. You also get a mount with this, so I think that this is great. This mount for the fans of the Pyre, we have a Pyre mount. It is the Golden Griffin, and we're gonna see it right now. There's splash art.
Shiny.
Yeah. So what a beautiful, beautiful Griffin there. You'll definitely want to ride your Pyre skins just in time too with the once this comes out and you purchase this with the Angels Battle Pass, all those Pyre skins, and then also for Furia, whoo, gonna be styling in the realm. You know,
I'm always kind of partial to like Manticores, Griffins, stuff like that. So I was very excited for this one.
Look at how glowy they are.
So golden.
would you say that's a glowing Griffin boy? Glowing
I'll give a
golden
glowing
Griffin.
recommendation.
Golden Griffin.
A lot of G's. A lot of G's in here. It's really cute, actually. It kind of reminds me of there's a certain entity of another game that have these yellow chicken-like creatures, if you know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say the word on our show. But it reminds me of those in the face a little bit. Not going to lie. But that's a good thing. It means it's approachable, even though it would probably tear you apart with its talons. You know,
It's a menacing beak, but one that I will gladly ride. Not the beak, obviously, the Griffin into battle.
I think we need to move on.
Into battle, the Griffin will rip my enemies apart. I think that's
I'm
how it works, right?
broken. You've broke Romanova.
Oh no.
But I'm really excited. So as you see, Season Pass 2021 definitely has a lot of perks. You know, there will be more to see from it, you know, in our update notes, etc. Probably on social. So keep your eyes peeled, and you don't want to miss out on that. But another thing you don't want to miss out on is there's been a war brewing in the realm, right? With all of our lore. First, we got Vora, and if some of you watched the Vora trailer, right, you might have heard a voice in the background if you listened very closely, and it wasn't Vora's voice. It was not. And that right there is something that is now coming to you. You've probably seen some of our teasers on social, and she's finally here alongside Vora to fight.
Something a little bit
And
more calamitous.
yeah, so let's get into our trailer for Yagorath the Devourer.
I watched in horror as the Maw was released. Desperation saw this realm destroyed. It was swift from the time the first village was taken to the day the last stronghold fell. It consumed everything that stood in its way. Until there was nothing. I saw it happen once. Not this time. United, we can change the outcome.
Change the outcome? The outcome was never in question. Your petty lives. Your useless conflicts are so small. Unite against me, to be consumed together. Don't be scared. This realm will find peace at last. I am the beginning of the end. I am Yagorath, and I will consume this realm. Let us feast.
I have
yes.
Oh man. Everyone else shivering a little bit.
Every time I hear a voice, I get chills. The voice acting so great, plus the little kind of like effect on it to kind of echo kind of the creepiness of it.
The skittering
I think
gets
I got
me.
my hoodie.
That's my favorite part. It's the skittering.
Well, you're not expecting the part at the end, you know.
But super exciting. You know, as you mentioned, this is kind of like huge. It's going to be calamitous. It's going to be very exciting to show this.
Yeah, and man, some of the champions, they didn't stand a chance. You saw Cassie shot her arrow, didn't do anything, couldn't pierce. Victor throwing a bomb, does nothing. You know, definitely one tough worm mama. And yeah, so that's Yagorath, folks. We're going to get into some of her gameplay here, but let's show off the splash art. There she
I love
is,
this piece.
ginormous. I feel like excited that we finally have our version of like a Jormungandr sized creature in our game. You know, when Smite released Jormungandr, it was their biggest and like, you know, tallest, I guess, champion or god that they had put in their game. And ours is Yagorath, and it's a very ambitious design as well. All right, so now we're going to go in game, and there is our worm mama in the flesh or goo or maw, whatever you want to say there.
Like that.
Yeah.
Move over,
And I'm
we got a new
gonna
beefcake in town.
let our designers take this away. They're going to go through what she does, and she's going to do the things.
Oh man,
Adonis,
we've already shown the
start
one
us off?
Of course. Really excited for everyone here at the Hi-Rez Showcase to see Yagorath. This is something that the team has really rallied behind. We were so excited to work on this champion. This is the largest champion that we've ever done in game, and we had a couple goals for development during Yagorath. One is to create a completely new experience, not just in, hey, we're introducing a new gameplay hook or mechanic, which she has a few of those, but for players to be able to engage in Paladins and play a champion in a way that traditionally they don't play champions in our game. So for her, we were really excited to bring such a large champion and also a really, really fun 1P experience. Being inside the jaws of Yagorath, I think, is probably the most excited I've been for any new champion in quite some time.
I think it really lends itself to kind of that feeling of being this predator, this large monster. But I can go ahead and just start us off right into the kit if we're interested. Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So Yagorath has a passive. She has base damage reduction and is immune to most forms of crowd control. Instead, she will have a portion of the crowd control duration converted to a stun instead. And we'll see how that plays in game, obviously, when you get on PTS and when she's released. And we can even go ahead and start right off with her primary fire in this form, Caustic Spray. Yagorath will spray acid from her maw. Hitting the ground leaves an acid pool behind. You can have a maximum of 6 pools placed.
Oh, yes.
And this is a fantastic. This is one of my favorite abilities because it provides a lot of pressure, especially really, really close. And the idea of spraying around you and creating these kind of like "don't step in me" pools is really, really interesting for me. Adonis, have you had a chance to like play with this as a way of like zoning, or do you just like melting people?
Both, honestly. Like, it could be a really powerful tool for melting and dropping it on damage players, but also just the range that it can go, along with the amount of pulls you can make. There's a small, slow, nothing too bad on it, where you're going to be sluggish and stuck in it for quite some time. But for a frontline champion, it has multiple uses, both as helping secure and lock down an individual player, but also as just this kind of space control without directly affecting the space by creating geometry like some of our other front lines, thinking of Inara do. It creates this area and fields that players really have to think about how they play, whether they want to stay in this and take some damage, or if they just want to get off. It's especially potent versus other front lines on the point.
It just provides that constant pressure and definitely that space that maybe they don't want to stand in for sure. Complementing this acid spray, though, we actually have the alt fire, which is Piercing Quills, or Piercing Quill. So Yagorath, at a longer range than the acid spray can do, we'll shoot out this quill that will deal damage. It pierces enemies and deals damage on hit, and then will also explode a short duration after it hits geometry or max range. The nice thing about this is it complements the acid. If you are affected by the acid pool while you are hit by the Piercing Quill, that target will take increased damage from all sources, not very much, for a short duration. So this is your tool. Like, if you really want to get just a little bit of help for the rest of your team, is put that acid down, hit them with the quill, and suddenly they are taking more damage from everyone. And they need to be aware of, do they want to challenge Yagorath on point? Do they want to challenge Yagorath for this space kind of thing?
Yeah, her basic 2 abilities, or primary fire and alt fire, they feel very monster-like. They interplay within each other. And it allows you to engage players at both short range with the acid and also long range with the quills, since the acid will not go across the map like some of our other primary fires do.
And moving on to kind of her defensive capabilities, she is rather beefy. She has that base damage reduction. She has a decent amount of health at base, but she also has hardening, which will allow her to hunker down for short duration, increasing the base damage reduction she has. And after this ability, oh my gosh, I absolutely love the visuals on that. Creating this zone of essentially you don't want to be standing next to her, because after this ability ends, she will deal damage to enemies around her. That damage will scale based on how long you held it down. This ability is cancelable early. So this is kind of her primary tool to I can't be very mobile right now, but I don't want to take a lot of damage, especially if they're just hammering on me. So I'm going to hunker down and reduce some of that damage.
Yeah, I think thematically this is it was a really fun way for us to handle making a frontline even tankier. Obviously, she has the base damage reduction to help with that. But it didn't really make sense for us for this character to create shields like a lot of our other front lines do, or generate a wall. So we really tried to figure out, how do we make this, how do we give this champion a really strong defensive tool without her creating a shield that doesn't really make sense for her as a character. So we came up with Harden, right? She hunkers down, like you said, gets that really hardened carapace. We think it just plays more into playing as a giant worm monster, right? You're spraying acid, you're firing quills from your mouth, you're hunkering down and getting this hardened carapace to get defensive. It, I think, is a really fun way to handle this champion. And then people, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I also encourage people to check out the cards on the patch notes and in game, as there are some really interesting, I think, in my opinion at least, interactions with hardening, in particular with our cards that you don't often see with other champions cards.
Mm-hmm. And players have probably noticed that we have not moved around with this champion, probably because she cannot move while she is standing up. Or leaning up? She's not really. Is it standing if you have no legs?
Unfurled? Can we say that?
Unfurled. Yeah, unfurled. That works.
She just looks wiggly.
She wiggles. She kind of wiggles, but she cannot wiggle, away from the point she's on. But one of our abilities is form swap. Yagorath will swap forms from planted into her mobile form. There she is, the Wheel of Doom.
I haven't heard that yet. Now I'm just going to call this the Wheel of Doom.
The Doom Wheel.
This is, again, we wanted to do a new way to experience a champion in our game. So while planted, you can't move. You're this big hulking monster, but you are very susceptible to enemy players and damage because of your size and the lack of movement you have.
Move over, Skaven. We have a new Doom Wheel here. As you see, as you swap forms, there are different abilities that you will be able to use while in the mobile form versus the planted form. Her first ability in the mobile form, her main, is a Trail of Acid. She will leave some of those acid pools that we mentioned earlier behind her as she rolls around. And this is kind of a fire and forget. It can be used while other things are being used as well. So if you know you're going to kind of want to create that space, or as you're bowling through people, you just leave that little bit of extra space control, a little bit of extra CC down, and make them think twice about whether or not they want to be there.
Yeah. This, oh God. I'm just so proud of what we've done with this champion. I'm so excited. The wheel, the movement's a lot of fun. For this ability, like you said, it's just basically a fire and forget. It just adds more space control to her as a frontline, really disrupting players and making them move around the map instead of just staying down in one place.
For me, I think, as you said, I'm also very proud of our team. I think this is one of the most technically ambitious champions that we've done. But as we move on to the second ability in our planted form, so while you're putting down that Trail of Acid, you can also use your alt fire, which is acceleration. Now this will cause you to go very fast.
Rolling around at the speed of sound.
Deja vu.
Rolling.
So Yagorath cannot mount, right? I think she would probably break the poor horse's back.
No.
Instead, we have another way for her to gain a little bit of mobility, and as a fun side note, we can go bowling. Nico, my cousin. So as you saw there, we're bowling some poor Cassies. If you are using acceleration, which will allow you to accelerate to a speed that is faster than your base speed, while you maintain that faster than normal base speed, and you hit somebody, you will go through them, knocking them up and away and dealing damage to them. So you can roll through kind of a hit and run through the enemy team, which is a lot of fun when combined with the Trail of Acid.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most fun I have with this champion. I mean, there's a lot going on, and her whole kit's enjoyable, but really going very fast as almost a tire wheel, knocking through players and then planting right after that, and then laying waste to them is probably the most enjoyable. Her movement speed can get up there too, so she is a very, very mobile frontline, but obviously incredibly susceptible to damage while she is planted. So you're not really killing players in this form. There's not a ton of damage. It's more utility and ways for you to disrupt enemies.
Of course, I will be saying "meow" as I zip through the enemy team, do that hit and run, come around from behind for the flank. But we'll see our last ability here, which is another kind of a utile ability. She will kind of sense her enemies, and this is kind of an interesting take on a reveal. It's essentially a heartbeat sensor, heartbeat pulse. Yagorath will send out a series of very short series of pulses that will very briefly reveal enemies to her and her team, as a means of being useful to her team while she is in mobile form, and kind of providing that hunter killer, that predatory instinct aspect.
I love the little skittering from the bugs. This is probably my favorite ability audio-wise. Actually, I lied. The ult is my favorite ability audio-wise, which I think we are going to take a look here in a second.
An ultimate, you say?
You gotta hope that they take the bait. One might say, right?
Yeah, I hear
the
skittering.
Worm out on
what's
the hook.
that over there? Yeah. This is one worm you do not want to bite as a fish, because it will eat you instead. So her ultimate. Her ultimate is I think one of the most interesting things about her. So we can go ahead and show it off here, but I'll talk as we show it off. But she will swap to a separate health pool as she connects with an enemy with her ultimate, pulling them in. Now the interesting thing here is that while you are being pulled in, as you are being devoured, oh my gosh, yes, as you are devoured, Cassie can shoot your in-hand at Yagorath. If you did see that health pool swap, you will notice that she has a different amount of health that is separate from her base health, and not only can that Cassie shoot at you, but the rest of her team can shoot at you as well. So while Cassie's being eaten, the rest of her team is also shooting at you. If your health is broken, the ult will break. You will be refunded some ult charge, and you'll have a brief moment of vulnerability as you just had your ult broken. But soon enough, you'll be back ready to go. So part of what we wanted to do with this one, I think, is provide these moments of almost like a raid boss, or almost like a brief kind of monstrous, like boss moment where you have to, like, everyone focus Yagorath. She's eating somebody. We got to burn through her health pool to free our teammate.
Yeah, the raid boss mentality for this entire champion is really influenced her design. Is how do we make you feel like you are a boss in a multiplayer PvP game, while also obviously making it balanced? And we think this ultimate specifically is her really big moment of power. In the live version, she will not be continuously playing her audio on loop. Unfortunately, for this patch note show, we are still finishing some polish up on her. But the fact that not only can the enemy player fight back, but it also allows the entire enemy team to fight back and make her, stop her mechanic, as if you are fighting a raid boss, we think is a really interesting way to engage with a single champion as an entire team. Obviously, this can be really powerful, but there is enough of a delay that as long as, generally one other person helps assist, you will break that shield. And then once that happens, there will actually be a short delay from Yagorath where she will be vulnerable for about a second or two before she can actually do any abilities again.
And speaking of, raid boss mechanics, I think that is the most fun I ever have getting ulted by the enemy team, is getting eaten by a Yagorath. I love the visuals that we have getting pulled in, and kind of this like, oh crap, I gotta break this ult, like, somebody help me please, moment that we see. And
did we want to talk about talents as well here?
Yeah, we can go through them very briefly. So her default talent is Corrosive Acid. Essentially, it will augment her base acid, increasing the damage a little bit, increasing of both the spray and the pools. And then the other cool thing it does is it will increase the movement speed of your allies while they are in your acid. So you can you can
Bless.
you can be in the front lines, lay down that trail of acid behind you, and see your team kind of speed forward to victory. Her second talent is Sight Begets Strength. So this is modifying her movement ability, Heartbeat Pulse. Allies within range of that Heartbeat Pulse gain a stackable health shield and a brief movement speed increase for a brief duration after they're hit by that pulse. So that's if you really want to be a mobile frontliner, if you really want to get some utility for your team's survivability and some movement speed, you can kind of modify that vision ability. And then her third talent is called Unnatural Persistence. This one is kind of interesting. I'm excited to see how players end up using it. So Yagorath will heal while on an objective, and for 1 second after, or for a short duration after leaving the objective. This effect will scale up the longer you stay on the objective, up to a certain point. And obviously we have that short duration grace period after you leave the objective. This will not affect modes without an objective, but it will affect both the point and payload and cost and all that good stuff. So this one's interesting. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, this really is the most ambitious champion that you folks have created as a whole already. And just real quick before we move on, because we got some skins to go through and we got a little bit more before we get to the design section. But that's pretty much Yagorath. We're going to listen to some of her voice lines, and then we're going to do the shout outs and move on, folks. So let's hear them.
I find your lack of limbs disturbing. A proper send-off for the Do not let them escape. Luck has nothing to do with this. The end is near. Rejoice. Pay that no mind. I am the end.
Ooh.
Wow,
Yes.
that
like
one's
that.
great. Great writing
Nope,
on that.
no more. We got to end on that one.
Yeah.
The
So
end.
she is the end. And by end, I'm going to also give a shout out to, this was, I think, Myron on programming and Steve on the character, as well as animation by Jacob and Caitlin. So shout outs to them. The cards, concept, and splash, all by Thunderbrush. I know this was like kind of Thunderbrush's baby that grew into this devious, ambitious monster in our game. And I'm very happy, as I'm sure many are excited to see her. So we're going to go into the Season Pass exclusive skin. So if you get that Season Pass 2021, we have the Caustic Yagorath skin available. So looking very grim, very acidic.
Just that extra green, extra toxic acid, like extra. Don't stand in this. I like it.
She's like, you won't like me when I'm angry.
I'm always a worm.
So we got that one, again, obtained via the Season Pass 2021. And then our next one we have for her is her Grave Worm, which is her alternate color. This one is going to be available for direct purchase of 200 crystals, as well as 60,000 gold if you have that laying around. So let's take a look at the Grave Worm skin.
I like it. It's kind of that like fleshy, oh, yeah, I like it.
Very meaty.
This is what I would imagine in like a desert. This is the Trimmers version of Yagorath.
Yeah. Or
Another
the camel
Kevin?
spiders. It's like a camel spider if you've ever seen those. Just pops out. Terrifying.
Walk with that rhythm.
What is a
Yeah.
camel spider? Those sound scary.
Oh,
I could already...
don't Google it. Oh, it's so
Don't do
scary.
it. Don't do it. Don't Google
All right.
it.
I'll
I
do it
regret
later.
Terrifying.
And then we have our golden Yagorath as well, which, as you know, as you obtain mastery level 50 with this champion, you will be able to receive this. And it is spectacular in every way. And I'm just saying, too, thank goodness she has these claws to be her toothpick with all the champions she's going to be eating coming soon. She's going to need it, all right? She's going to need it to pick all that flesh and bones out of her teeth.
Dental hygiene,
So-
very important for giant worms.
Yeah, so that was Yagorath. Make sure you let us know on social and everything what you think of her. We know a lot of you kind of have already been theorizing or seeing things that you've kind of known she was coming for a minute, and the hype is very exciting for us to see all of you, especially because this is such an ambitious design, something totally new for our team, and it's nice to see she finally has made it to the realm. Probably not so nice for Atlas and the gang, though.
Yeah. The end is nigh. Yeah, she may not be everyone's can of worms, but I, for one, am ready to hop aboard the hype train and get it rolling because very excited to have her in the realm.
Yeah. And then just to continue off the golden skins, we're going to run through a couple coming as well real quick just to see some splash art. We have a golden Terminus coming as well. So there he is. Big, beefy, golden rock man, rock dad, however you want to, whatever your nickname for Terminus might be. He's my favorite frontline, so I'm excited to see him get a golden skin finally. And then we also have Golden Genos. Again, both of these can be reached by getting level 50 mastery. So make sure, too, when we do those Champion XP weekends, you take advantage of those. That's the fastest way to get these, for sure. So, and then just a couple other notes before we go into some community news. We have accommodations. Many of you have been asking this for a while now. Yes, you will be getting your accommodation border the frame from season 3 with this update, and it will be going to anyone who received 500 accommodations during this season 3 that we just ended. So we'll be doing that. I believe, do you folks have any news about accommodation system in 2021?
We'll just be running accommodations again. All your accommodations will be reset, and we'll have new awards for you to get. Some of the same stuff you had last year. So a gold chest, diamond chest, along with an Atlas announcer pack coming alongside the Yagorath, the release. So tying it all back to the worm.
Yeah, and seeing his voice come back too with the trailer was really exciting too. Great voice acting, top of the line. Can't wait to use that voice pack in game. And then we have a special emote to show you real quick as well. We have Drogos getting a little bit of love. No pun, or maybe there's a pun intended there. This is the Love Rocket emote.
Aww.
Quite a bit less deadly, but I'd be much happier to see this than the front end of a rocket like I normally do from him.
Yeah, and you'll be seeing this sometime around Valentine's Day, which I'm sure everyone's surprised about.
So sweet, so thoughtful. And with that, we'll transition into community. So for community news, the first thing I just wanted to let the community know is that we will be extending a program that Smite has had for a minute. We will be beginning a community avatar program where players who like to do art will be able to read the guidelines. There will be certain size specifications and everything for submitting these as well to us. And you'll be able to submit. The first theme is the Paladins anniversary for this year. So we will be giving you more details as those come out. But I just wanted to get everyone who likes, we have very amazing fan artists and we love, your work out there. So it's really exciting to give you this chance to submit these and get them in game. And they'll be most likely, we still haven't fully fleshed it out since it's very new, but most likely in like a chest, maybe, but we're just excited to see what you submit. And we know how much the Paladins anniversary meant to you last year. And here we go this year. Speaking of the anniversary, we have avatars and sprays coming as well. These normally come with like little weekend bonus events where we'll do like XP, etc. So we have some coming up for different holidays. We have, let's take a look at them. We have one for Lunar New Year. We have Ramadan. We have a Valentine's Day one that's super cute and animated with Ying. And we have St. Patrick's Day, as well as a cute little emoji for Easter. And we have 2 sprays as well. And our sprays that we have are one for International Women's Day. And you see the one on the my left is the Paladins anniversary spray you'll be able to get. And I love that was made by Thunderbrush, and I love so much that Yagorath's just shredding the guitar, and the only one excited is Vora.
It's a very
Everyone else
Thunderbrush
is terrified.
spray.
Really channeling into Thunderbrush, but absolutely love all that content.
So we're going to jump right into the next segment. We're getting closer to the end here, folks. We're almost into the balance section. We're going to talk a little bit about the rank split because, the ranked will reset in 2021 season. And with that being reset, anyone who got the Season 3 loading frames from last year who qualified based on the highest rank that was achieved during Season 3, you'll be receiving the border ranked frame that was applied to you. So that'll be something. I'll let you two kind of explain a little bit and run through it, and then we have a special skin to show you all.
I was going to say, I already know what I'm most excited about, but Kevin, sorry, go ahead, take it away.
Is it the skin?
It's a little bit the skin, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get to the skin. So first up, right. This is going to be a new season, so we are, once again, we're not going to be doing a hard reset like we did a couple seasons ago. This will be a soft reset, so players' MMRs will still be there, so you'll be working towards up to Grand Masters. So if you were a Masters player before or recently, you will rocket through some of the lower ranks more quickly. But we will actually be dragging players' MMR values down a little bit more, so it'll take a little bit longer to actually work up since we are doing a new season. And then we have a couple rewards for all players that are playing ranked games during Season 4. We have the Play 100 games. You will get a new limited title. You have win 100 ranked matches, which will give you a skin that I'll let Kevin go over since he's really excited. And I think that the community will love. And this is win 100. We had some frustrations about play 200, I believe, last season, where players were not really giving it their all. So you now need to win 100 matches instead of playing 200 to actually get the skin. And then we'll be, once again, doing season borders that you will unlock the highest rank that you achieve throughout the year up to Grand Masters, or excuse me, only up to Masters this year. And then at the end of Season 4, you'll receive that border. And then for Split 1, we're once again, play 15 ranked matches, you get a gold chest. Play 25 ranked matches, you get an avatar, the Maw, it's a little Yagorath avatar. And then for the ranked map rotation, we are bringing in Timbermill and Serpent Beach. Timbermill obviously getting the rework, so we're excited to see that one back in the map pool. And Fish Market and Shattered Desert are going to the reserves map. And now, the skin. Kevin.
Yes, let's do it. All right, so finally, I've seen the memes. I've seen the community reactions. Finally,
it's been 8 long years.
Torvald gets his skin. Torvald.
It's working.
It's working. It's working.
The whey protein is working.
Yes. I can see the king.
Been hitting the gym.
He is not somebody you want to mess with, this man. Berserker.
He went from grandpa to daddy.
De-aging. Berserker Torvald will be our ranked reward skin, and he is looking pretty intimidating.
I'm scared. I don't want to face this man.
Look at him in game.
Look at the man. He's even got a signature bubble.
I think the people that do that Viking show on TV should just add him in, honestly.
Yeah.
He looks
Crossover.
like he could take them all out. Yeah.
So as you see here, he is rather buff, looking good. I was very excited since we saw the concept, since I know people have been asking for a Torvald skin for a hot minute. And here we are.
I think like a Barbarian Berserk Torvald, it feels real good.
I like the runes a lot too.
Yeah, this champion, obviously he's kind of a runic sage, so traditional Norse. What the heck? Traditional Norse mythology, right? There's a good amount of runes in it, so I think this fits his character really well, and the theme of him being a berserker Viking-esque character.
So we got just kind of a rugged survivalist, right? Who who is intelligent, right? He's done this work with the runes, but he also knows how to stay alive, knows how to make camp, make a fire, all that good stuff in the wild. I absolutely love that ability. Rollin, as usual, I feel like I say this every single time, but Rollin, as usual, killing it.
These were the college years for Torvald. That's what this was. These were his times, playing on the Viking football team before he got old, right? Not really, but it's just nice to see a young version of him. I think a lot of people have really been wanting to see like a different. As much as people love the whole grandpa theme, I think a lot of people really appreciate having like a totally different kind of version of this character.
Yeah, I think it's almost just a kind of a different take on his age. I think he's kind of that rugged, the guy who never stopped lifting. He started lifting in college and never stopped, kind of thing.
I mean, when you carry a rock on your arm like that, you're gonna get some muscle from it. All right.
Mm-hmm. And let's even hear some voice lines while we're at it.
Do it. Now's your chance. The only joke here is you thinking I won't put you down. Right here, right now. No way! Nobody can handle me! What we do this match will echo forever! Let's enjoy this, shall we? You want me to notice you, do you?
Man, some gym-timidation right there. So, I'm really excited. I've been trying to, without spoiling it, hint that we are bringing the Torv skin to the game, and here it is. So yeah, and I also appreciate, I know I've heard a lot of player complaints about people when they don't have the incentive to play to win a match for a reward, how some people will just not give it their all or even throw even. And I think lowering that threshold, but giving it where you have to win, I think helps that and makes people, who want that reward take it more seriously, as well as work with their team. So see coming in this update. So that is really all that I will be a part of here, folks. But yeah, so we got to see a lot here with Yagorath and updates with the maps. We've seen some ranked split. We've seen some Torvald skins, some season pass. So I hope you're enjoying the Hi-Rez showcase so far. We're going to keep it going, though. The show isn't quite over yet. When we do a new season, there's a ton of balance. So I'm going to leave that to the balance masters. It used to be Adonis the balance master, but now it's, Nico's part of the family as well. So I'm going to let these two take it away, and they'll be closing out here. But thank you so much for watching, and please don't go anywhere because it's going to swap right now to them.
Thank you so much to Romanova. We're going to be going over balance for Season 4. As always, this is subject to change. We'll probably be making some more adjustments in PTS, so make sure you give the feedback on the current patch notes as they are, in any of our social channels, so Twitter, Discord, any Reddits as well. We're excited to hear what you guys have to think about Season 4 balance. First up is Wrecker. We're making a very small item change to this item. Words. It is going from 20% scaling to 25% scaling, so a little bit more effectiveness against shields. That is the only item change. And then we have Androxus. We're going to be rolling through some of these smaller changes. He's getting a change to the Spiteful card. The ultimate charge is being increased from 4% scaling to 6% scaling. Small buff. On to Ash. Also just focused on card changes. First up is Ramparts, which is a siege shield card. We are increasing the cooldown reduction from 0.5 scaling to 0.8 scaling. So more shields more often for her. And then Watchtower card is getting an increase to the shield health scaling, going from 200 to 250. And then Brawl, which is a kinetic burst card, is getting increased healing, from 120 to 150. So she will be a little bit tankier when it comes to her shield and have the ability to regain more health if she decides to go the kinetic burst build. Then we have a small change to Atlas talents. Unstable Fissure, just getting a damage increase. This talent isn't really competitive with some of the others, so a slight bump in the numbers. And then we have Barrick. Barrick is a pretty beefy boy right now, probably top of the front lines, especially with the health increase he recently got, although we still have to wait to see that play out. Getting some small adjustments to his talents, Architectonics, having The cooldown reduction provided from this talent going down from 3 seconds to 2 seconds on turrets. And then Tinkerin, not going back up to its old damage, but trying to make this talent a little bit more competitive. We are increasing the damage per shot from 480 to 510. And then we have some card adjustments for Bomb King. Grumpy Bomb, Countdown. Increased Grumpy Bomb's cooldown reduction from 0.6 to 0.8. So this is more focused on people who want to build, an accelerant build or just a general Grumpy Bomb type of build. Then we have the Doomsday card, which is a flat heal after using Grumpy Bomb, is now getting its health increased from 75 scaling to 130. And then the Mad Bomber card we are increasing the duration of the movement speed when you use Grumpy Bomb from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. You'll be quicker for longer. Then we have Cassie. We're trying to give a little bit of love to people who love dodge roll Cassie builds without breaking it outright. So we're excited to see these changes and how players utilize it. Incitement, we have increased the cooldown reduction, which is if you hit your first shot after dodge rolling, reduce the cooldown of your next dodge roll. This is going from 0.8 scaling to 1 second scaling, so up to 5 seconds. And then Onslaught, which is the card that heals Cassie after she dodge rolls, getting increased health value from 40 to 75. Then we have a long list for Corvus, which I think we'll kind of go over kind of what our thoughts are. But at first, we'll just go through all of the notes. Abilities. Entropic Breach, his ultimate, now damages pets and illusions, so this will now affect Luna, along with Ying illusions and other illusions. Talents. Dark Gifts. We are increasing the cooldown reduction it provides from 10% to 15%, and increasing the bonus healing received from 50 per second to 75. His Stunning Visage talent is getting a damage increase from 600 to 800. And then Spreading Influence, we are reducing, this increased healing reduction on marked targets is going from 15% to 20%. So you're getting a lot of marks, but they're receiving less healing. And then cards, Projection, Unyielding Discipline. We are increasing the cooldown reduction for each enemy hit with your dagger throw from 0.2 seconds to 0.5 seconds scaling. And then another projection card, Abyssal Shift, is getting increased damage reduction while it's out from 3%, excuse me. There's a lot of numbers flowing here, to 5%. And then the final adjustment that Corvus will be getting is an Abyssal Reconstruction card, Abyssal Effluxion. We are increasing the active time of damage reduction from 0.3 seconds to 0.8 seconds scaling. So a lot of adjustments to Corvus. Kevin, if you kind of wanted to go over the mindset for these ones.
Sure. So Corvus, I think, with his introduction to the realm, is another one that enables a lot of gameplay through teammates. We do think that he is in a relatively good spot. He can be, fairly significant with the benefits that he can give to his teammates. We think right now the way, especially if you're solo healing, is to play Spreading Influence. So part of what we wanted to do is provide a little bit more viability for some of his other playstyles, while reducing the effectiveness just a little bit of the Spreading Influence playstyle to allow for a more variety of different playstyles around certain things. And in particular, the Abyssal Effluxion card didn't see a lot of play at all. People, have been talking about it a little bit, so we decided to bump that up a little bit more significantly to see if we can provide a little bit more value for that.
Thank you. And then we have Drogoz up next. A couple card changes. We think Drogoz, we're still waiting for him in the meta right now. Have done some pretty significant nerfs to hit scan, so before we make more or stronger adjustments to Drogoz, we're going to see how he plays out in the upcoming months. But Thrust, survival card, a thrust card called Survival. We've reduced the internal cooldown from 30 seconds to 15 seconds, and then Rain of Fire, booster consumption reduction is going from 10% to 15%. Next up, we have Furia. So Furia is in an interesting spot. She's been meta for quite some time, but Exterminate really does not compete with her other talents. So we've actually now increased the damage per tick that players under Pyre Strike take from 20 every 0.05 seconds to 40. So this is doubling the damage, but only on the tick portion, so not on the initial hit portion where it does a flat 400. And then a couple card adjustments. Hollowed Sight, we're increasing Wrath generation from 10% to 15%. And then the Kindle Soul Lightforge card, reducing the internal cooldown from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. So this, in playtesting, this has been decently powerful, but Furia has to give up a lot to pick Exterminate over some of the other talents. So we're excited to see how this one plays out.
Now, I happen to love Exterminate, so I am excited to play around with this a little bit more.
You do. What's wrong with you? Amani. Amani's getting a couple adjustments. We think she's in a pretty good spot. She just needs a couple minor number adjustments to make her more competitive in the meta. We talked about doing a couple things, but we think ultimately having her be able to utilize her alternate abilities more frequently is probably the best spot. So Frostbomb and Inferno's cooldown are getting reduced from 18 seconds to 15 seconds. And then we have Inara, small card buff to Plateau. So when you use Impasse, you get a shield. This is going from 75 scaling to 125 scaling now.
You're going to see Inara wall build be a thing. That's the crusade,
It will
right,
happen.
Kevin? Yeah.
That is the crusade right now. I want her to have more than one viable talent. I would like her to have 3, but we'll get to there slowly. Up next is Io. So Io has some pretty major adjustments. First up, Goddess's Blessing talent. The damage reduction it provides is getting reduced from 15% to 10%. And then the big one here is Guardian Spirit, her ability. We talked about this a lot. Part of her original design was to make Luna feel like another player in the battlefield. Ultimately, though, from a balance perspective, it's very, very hard to balance around the ability for players to have an extra person push up while Luna can cap the point. So you can just have that extra player advantage and really, really push the enemy. So for now, Luna will no longer be able to capture objective points or push the cart. But we still think that this ability can be used more frequently. So we are reducing the initial deploy cooldown from 18 seconds to 16 seconds, and then reducing the redeploy cooldown from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. So you will be able to move Luna around more often, and the playstyle will probably start leaning more towards where are you placing Luna, how often you are moving her, and getting her into the correct position. So we're going to make these changes and see where Luna lands after this, because we think this is a pretty massive change to her, her largest strength. But I am excited to see, if she is still viable, and if she's not, we'll make further adjustments after that. Up next is Kinessa, just bringing some of her talents in line. Steady aim. We are reducing the time limit for bonus damage from 7 seconds to 4 seconds. 7 seconds was a long time. And then we are also reducing the additional damage increase it provides to 30% to 20%. So we think her talents will probably be more competitive. You're over here, Kevin. But I'm looking to it's very confusing.
Wait, no, other way. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and then we have,
I was just going to say real quickly, the Kinessa steady aim talent, I think, as you mentioned, 7 seconds is a long time. So just bring that down along with the additional damage. I think we'll put her more in line with how we view where she should be.
Up next, we have Koga. So he's just getting some buffs to Blood Reaper talent, which is the most underplayed and weakest performing talent, increasing the damage it provides to targets from 115 to 125%, and then increasing the bonus movement speed from 15% to 25%. And then the ultimate, it now provides an ultimate charge rate increase by 15%. And then Lex, a single one-liner. Magnums can now be held down to fire, so you don't have to click every single action of it. Excited about this one. And then we have Leon, very small adjustment to precision. Again, trying to balance out the strengths of the talents in the game right now. Increasing the total stacks from 4 to 5 on this one. And then up next we have Makoa. Talents Leviathan, getting an increase to the ultimate charge rate that this talent provides. Since the talent is entirely focused on buffing his ultimate, we want it to be up a little bit more frequently, 15% to 25%. And we are also looking at Barrier Reef card right now. This is not on the patch notes, but you may see an adjustment to that before we actually get into PTS. Then we have Maldamba. We know players have been wanting some Maldamba buffs for quite some time. He's good, but he's not good enough. We're excited to see if these can kind of push him into the limelight once again. So abilities, Mending Spirits, getting a flat increase to the healing per second from 325 to 340. And then Mini Gourds, the card, getting an increase to the cooldown reduction it provides, 0.5 to 0.8. The Venomous card is getting an increase to the lifesteal it grants, 6% to 8%. Pungent Gourd, the flat heal when you throw Gourd, getting a buff from 75 to 90. Seems to be a theme here. And then Spirit's Touch, Slither. We are reverting our original adjustment we made to where it provided flat healing and is now going to, once again, increase your movement speed by a scaling 8% for 3 seconds. And then the Snake Pit card, which is flat movement speed, is going from 2% scaling to 4% scaling. So a good amount of changes to Damba, Kevin.
Yeah, I think coupled with the couple of bug fixes we saw with some of these cards means that Damba will be just that much closer to what feels right for Damba players.
And then we have a couple more line items here. Moji, Snack Attack is getting an increase to the health it provides, the pickup drop from 600 to 900. And then Pip is also getting a talent adjustment to Mega Potion, so the main healer, his primary main healer talent. The bonus healing going from 100% to 115%. Excuse me. And then a couple adjustments to Rom here. He is top of the meta right now, or one of the highest, both in casual and in competitive. He's first pick, first banned a lot. So the Enforcer talent is getting reduced from 50% scaling, 50% damage reduction to 40% damage reduction during Juggernaut. And then the Shattered Essence, which provides additional healing from soul fragments, is getting a nerf from 20 to 15. We're also looking at, again, not on the patch notes, making some adjustments to his soul armor generation, specifically Soul Harvest, which provides 2,000 flat soul armor. We are looking to adjust that to 1,600 or 1,500, so his flat instant defensive mechanism isn't as powerful. Again, may not go through, may go through. Check the patch notes or adjustments once we go to PTS. Ruckus, couple buffs for the Goblin and the Mech. Flux Generator, the talent, getting increased shielding from 1,000 to 1,300. His Emitter ability is getting an increased duration of his shield from 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds. And a couple small buffs to cards. Opulence now heals players for each player hit, but the heal is being reduced from 100 scaling to 60 scaling. And At the Ready, which is ammo regeneration when using Missile Launcher, is going from 5 scaling to 10 scaling. Then we have a large number of changes to Ceres. Kevin, did you want to run through these?
Sure, yeah. So Ceres, with our change to the Mortal Reach talent, I think that was the right direction, but we want to give it a little bit more love. So we are changing the time, the reduced time between healing ticks. So effectively, the healing she does will be increased with this change from 17% to 25%. For her abilities on Restore Soul, we are increasing the healing granted to adjacent allies or allies near the main target from 40% to 60%. Shadow Travel, her movement form or her movement ability, has a reduced cooldown from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. Rend Soul. So this is an interesting change, but I think I'm actually really excited. I like playing Ceres. There's always something to do. So this is kind of in line with that general concept. We're reducing the cooldown of Rend Soul from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, reducing the damage of Rend Soul from 100 to 60, and reducing the healing received from 15% to 8%. So you'll have Rend Soul up much more often. If you have those orbs out, if you have those stacks up, you'll be able to hit that button much more frequently, but you'll have less of an impact for each one. Moving on to cards, for a Rend Soul card, we have Bane. We are increasing the duration of the movement speed increase from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. And then for another Rend Soul card, Wickedness, we are decreasing the cooldown reduction from 0.5 seconds to 0.4 seconds in line with the previous change we made to the ability. Shadow Travel card, we have Duskwalker. We are increasing the cooldown reduction of Duskwalker from 0.6 second scaling to 0.8 second scaling. And then a weapon armor card, we have Sorceress, which is just flat ultimate recharge rate. We are moving that from 5% scaling to 7% scaling. I think, especially the Rend Soul changes, this will put Ceres in. She will always have a button to press. She'll feel very, very dynamic. Very, there's always something to do, and I think we'll see her be more effective just in multiple different ways here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Ceres. I would really love to see her back in the meta, so that's probably something we're going to be focusing on over the next couple patches and kind of see where she lands. She's been at the bottom of the barrel for supports for quite some time, and even in the grand scheme of the game, she's been fairly weak over the last season. So excited to see where she lands. Then we have Turbinus, small adjustment. Again, there's a lot of changes to talents, just bumping up some of the weaker talents and nerfing some of the higher end talents. Undying, we have increased the threshold for you to get damage reduction from 40% to 50%. Small buff to Tiberius's talent, Vicious Assault. We are increasing the damage from 700 to 900. And then Torvald, small nerf to Thanks Grandpa, reducing the flat shielding bonus it provides from 500 to 300. And then we have a few adjustments for Willow, specifically looking at Dead Zone builds and cards. Nightshade is getting its damage bumped, not to the old value, but still decent, going from 500 to 650. And then some of the cards all related to Zed Zone. Pixie Dust increasing the flat healing from 65 to 75 per second. Shenanigans, we are once again going back to the higher movement speed value, increasing it from 5% to 8% scaling, and also the duration will now be 3 seconds. And then Sparkle, this card increases the duration of Dead Zone. It is going from 0.5 seconds scaling to 0.6 scaling. And that is it for Season 3 balance. Again, make sure to check in on PTS if we have any further adjustments, and provide us any feedback or thoughts you have about the notes you've seen here.
Very excited to hear what everyone thinks of the worm and these balance changes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, as always.